Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Detroit Baseball Weekly. We have a microphone now. We'll see if it makes the audio any better or worse. A little bit of an update because we haven't been here in so long. We have lives. We got other stuff going on. We recorded an episode. I hated it. I scrapped it.
I don't know why you hate it. I didn't mind it.
I did not. I know I didn't when we recorded it, but then I watched it and I was like, "This is not good."
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you actually watched it? I thought you.
I watch it when I edit it. Yeah.
Oh, you actually watch it.
So here we are, a month later. I went on vacation. Isaac shaved his beard. If there's stuff to talk about, we'll make an episode. But if there's nothing, or if we have other stuff going on, well, then you're gonna have to wait. I'm sorry. I guess we'll start way back where we left off at our last where we left off at our last episode, kinda. Michael Lorenzen signed 1 year, $8.5 million. What kind of role will he have going into this year, and what does it mean for the rest of the pitching staff?
I don't know. Like I said, I thought I had him locked in probably at the start of the season as a starter. Definitely in the starting five, the main rotation, I think. I forgot mostly everything we had about this guy because it's been so long since we've done an episode about him. But I remember I had him locked in at the top five for the rotation, especially during the start. And I think he might stay there all season. Or maybe go like long end reliever or something maybe, but I don't know.
I mean, that's the nice part about having it sit is it's not fresh news. We're not like, this guy's our new ace or anything, you know? Like, I don't know. It got to simmer a little bit. I think it's going to be a fight. I think if he pitches better than Joey Wentz and Alex Faedo and Matt Boyd even, then he'll get the spot. But if we come into spring training and the two main guys will start of Erod and Manning, and then maybe like Wentz, Faedo, Brisky. If they all start off hot and they earn the spots, then throw both Boyd and Lorenzen in the bullpen, I'd say. He didn't have a great year last year in his first full season as a starter. With LA, he put together a 4.24 ERA in 18 games started, but if you're looking at him as a 5-starter, that's not bad, honestly.
And he has experience.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be nice to get him and Boyd in. You got a couple long relief or starter options from both the right and left-hand side. Plus, you got Tyler Alexander.
Back-to-back years when he pitched a 3.11 and a 2.92 ERA.
The 2.92 is nice.
And the 2.88 up at the top.
That is a good year in 2016 in Cincinnati. Going into his 31-year-old season, so we'll see what he's got in the tank. Also, he can play outfield.
I've never seen him play outfield.
That's because he doesn't, but he can.
I did not know that. That is news to me.
There is another topic. I left it as a mystery topic to Isaac. We'll talk about it now because it fits in better here anyways. If you're looking at the influx of starting pitching, obviously you have your big three. You got Erod, and now you have Lorenzen, Boyd, and then the smaller three guys, I guess, with Faedo, Brisky, and Wentz. Is now the time to trade a guy like Eduardo Rodriguez?
Yeah, probably. I'd say so because you have a couple starters still on injury that could be gone for a while. And honestly, I think we're still not ready to really make a playoff push. And from what I seen last year, it was not. I mean, he got better towards the end of the year, but at the beginning of the year, it was just not good at all. And I'd say trade him while he's still young and still has decent trade value. You know, get something out of him at least. And we have like extra arms for starters if we need them. I don't think it's a horrible idea. I mean, you can keep him because also at the same point, his year was so bad last year that his trade value could have dropped so much.
I mean, it's not even necessarily that he had a bad year last year. The biggest issue was that he wasn't on the field.
Yeah, he wasn't on the field a lot.
He had his injuries, and then he had that weird kind of time where he kind of left.
Personal reasons.
Yeah, he left for personal reasons, and then Austin Meadows left for mental health. That's two of the big guys we got. That's two of the three big guys we brought in last year that just didn't play whatsoever.
Yeah.
I would agree. I don't think that we're going to be in contention this year. I really doubt it. But I guess it depends too, because if Scott Harris is looking at him like this guy is our ace of the future, well, maybe not even of the future, at least for the next 4 years. If he looks at him and says that, then I'm not opposed to keeping him.
He's the ace?
He might be.
No, there's no way. If you keep Scooble's the ace. Mize is still a better ace.
You're saying that because you like those guys,
No,
not because
I think they're
numbers.
better. Definitely Scooble. Definitely Scooble's 10 times better.
The stats don't necessarily back that up.
Look it up. I would argue. Scooble was
So-
nice. I like Scooble. Matt Manning even, I think personally even had a better year.
Manning made 3 starts though.
Well, yeah, but I like Matt Manning though.
The problem with
Matt Manning only made 3 starts last year.
Yeah, I believe so. So Scooble had a 3.52 ERA last year with a 1.156 WHIP, which are good numbers. Don't get me wrong. And Erod's numbers last year weren't bad, honestly, with a 4.05 ERA. He did make 17 starts actually. So Erod did not have as good of a year, but the track record for Erod is just better.
Well, yeah, that's because Scooble hasn't had that much time.
The thing you got to think about with all of these stats from Eduardo Rodriguez is that he was pitching in Boston where people can just slap the ball and bounce it off the big green monster, whereas Scooble
All right,
has
and he threw a 4.05 ERA this year in Detroit, where you can't do that.
No,
it's a long ballpark.
That's fair. I'm just saying if he's a guy that we're building around.
I will argue the worst thing about Scooble, I'm not going to say the only bad thing because there's probably some minor flaws, it's the home runs.
Yeah,
He gives up way too
that's
many home
the
runs.
big
That's
thing.
it, but he's like a fastball pitcher kind of, and that's kind of expected.
I want to say I've said this on here that I'm really impressed with Scooble and how he has found out how to pitch and not just throw, because that's a big problem in his career so far is that he didn't really know how to pitch. He was going out there and trying to strike out every single guy, and then we'd pull him in the 4th and 5th
But
inning.
wouldn't you assume that's kind of what the catcher's for? To lead a guy? Like a pitcher? That's kind of what the catcher does from the defense spot. They call the pitches.
Yes and no. Like
I mean, like a pitcher can call off a pitch or get a different pitch, but as a catcher, that's when you can call a time and tell him listen to what I'm telling you to pitch.
so if you are a
And I think that's where Tucker Barnhart did a great job with Scooble. We seen Scooble's best year last year, and he was led by Tucker Barnhart mostly.
my argument against that is if you're a catcher and you call a pitch up and in with the idea of throwing it up and in, trying to jam him, just putting it in the zone up and in, and the pitcher is on the opposite page where he's like, I'm trying to strike this guy out, so he throws it, tries to dot it, either misses or maybe nips the corner. That's just because the catchers call the pitch in where they go doesn't mean that it's not up to the pitcher, the outcome still. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but I think that just shows. I just think that's a bad teammate, kind of, if you do that.
Not necessarily.
Especially if there's runners on base and your catcher wants a high fastball and you throw a low and away curveball or slider and it's in the dirt. And
I'm not saying that difference, but when you call a high fastball, there's a high fastball can be interpreted as maybe 93, kind of a get me over. Dan Petrie had a name for it where they throw it slower on purpose to try to get him to ground out. To throwing that high as opposed to chucking 97 way high trying to just dot a strike. There's a big difference between those two. So just because he calls a fastball high doesn't necessarily indicate everything to do on the pitch. It just gives him a general idea of what to do.
Yeah. All right. I see the argument you're trying to make
Yeah.
now. I thought you were saying like.
No, I'm not saying
the
he's gonna
pitches
just.
in the pitch count situation and stuff.
I'm just saying you can make different guesses on a pitch. You can.
Yeah, it's like changing velocity, you know? It's
Yeah,
not
I mean-
like the catcher's telling you throw 97 miles per hour fastball high.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
And he's not saying throw it in the zone for sure. He's not saying dot it on this corner. Just throw a ball high. So that sometimes they do that where they're like throw a ball high, but that's the only one.
usually that's kind of what the catcher's mitts for, you know, to guide them the area that the catcher wants the ball.
The problem with that though is that they can't really do that. They kind of have to like do it all with signals because all it takes is this.
Yeah, I know.
You know,
I don't know why more. Is that like illegal? Because I don't know why more people
No,
don't do it.
they just don't. They don't like do that. They don't move their glove until they physically have to. They're all about like they'll have like 3 or 4 signs in a row. One of them will be like the indicator maybe,
Yeah.
and then it'll be like fastball, and then maybe 3 means maybe this corner's 1, this corner's 2, 3, and 4. So yeah, it's kind of just up. It really is up to the pitcher on whether like how he throws it with the limited information that the catcher gives him. We got anything else on Michael Lorenzen?
No, not really. I want to see him play outfield though, because that'd be interesting.
That would be funny, especially if it was like a 17-inning game.
Shohei Ohtani Part 2.
That was supposed to be Brendan McKay. I saw a video about that today.
Really?
That would be kind of funny if it was like a 17-inning game and they did like AJ did like some goofy stuff and made it work, got the run in, and then they had to throw Lorenzen in the outfield for like a half inning. That would be kind of cool, actually.
That'd just be weird.
I'd like it. I'd have fun with it. I like weird stuff like that. I like when Cody Clemens
As long as it makes a play.
strikes out Ohtani.
Well, Cody Clemens isn't on the team anymore.
And that transitions perfectly into the next topic. There was a massive trade recently.
I'd say so.
Massive. So I'll just go over the terms of the trade really quick. We gave Gregory Soto, our all-star closer,
For like
And-
the past 2 years or 3 years or whatever.
and Cody Clemens, son of Roger Clemens, ace pitcher on the mound, and he can play third base and second base all right. For Matt Vierling, Nick Maton, and Donnie Sands, all of the Philadelphia Phillies. Before we go over those guys, it's kind of funny how people view these players because like there's like us who is like, man, we love Soto, and like I know for me I'm like, yeah, we'll see what Clemens has. You just hate him.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad, he's an older baseball fan. He's used to when they used to throw 87 top speed and everybody was just trying to hit a single, you know, stuff like that. And I called him. I was like, hey, did you see the trade? We traded Soto. He was like, yes, I'm so glad that bum's gone. I was like, also Cody Clemens, and he was genuinely sad.
Really?
Yeah, it's just because he saw Roger Clemens, so he's like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the son of Roger Clemens. But he's also like, this dude can't throw any strikes. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter if you throw strikes. He's effective.
He's got like the emotional attachment, I guess.
Yeah, he's got the emotional attachment to Clemens, whereas we're actually looking at it like, oh, Soto's a good player, and Clemens isn't. Where my dad's like, well, Clemens is the son of Roger Clemens, but Soto can't throw strikes. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter if he throws strikes because he throws ched.
Yeah.
So we got Matt Vierling. He's, I would say, the biggest piece. We solved our problem with a right-handed hitting outfielder and a left-handed hitting infielder. That would be Nick Maton. Vierling, his stats are underwhelming. I will say that right now. If you're looking at his hitting stats, you're looking in the wrong place. Last year for Philadelphia, in only 34 games, he had a good year, but that was misleading because it was only 34 games. This year, when he was kind of the primarily center fielder, he was to start the year, and then once they acquired Brandon Marsh, they kind of platooned them in center field. He put together a 246 batting average, a 297 on base, 351 slugging, and a 648 OPS for an 83 OPS plus. That isn't really great. I don't think I have to tell you guys that those numbers aren't good. I would like to look at his Baseball Savant page where you start to make an argument. First of all, this dude is a straight up athlete, all right? Looking at his Baseball Savant page, he smacks the ball when he hits it. He's in the 86th percentile for average exit velocity, 82nd percentile for max exit velocity, 85th percentile for hard hit rate, 97th sprint speed. This dude is fast. 87% arm rate, 80th percentile in whiff percentage. So he doesn't swing and miss. His outs above average is about average in the outfield. Especially if we move him to a corner spot, he is going to be elite. His outfielder jump isn't great. Doesn't matter because he's so fast. Needs to walk more. 25th percentile in walk percentage and 24th percentile in barrel percentage. So he's not always barreling up the ball. But when he does hit the ball, he absolutely nails it. Chase rate's okay. Strikeout rate's okay. Slugging is okay. There's something to tap into here for sure.
There could be. I mean, I like fast guys. They're probably one of my favorite top. I don't know. They might be my favorite like prototype of a player.
Yeah, I got you.
Player. I just like fast guys, but I also like outfielders who have reaction time. Like I kind of think I'd rather have Riley Green in the outfield than Matt Vierling. Just because his reaction time is so fast.
So that's a tale of two outfielders. Riley Green. Yeah, he reacts well, but he's not as fast. Matt Vierling is so fast, doesn't jump as well.
But I think you get so many more outs with better reaction time than speed.
Well, that's the beauty of it, is you got Riley Green in center, and you got Matt Vierling in left, and then
Austin Meadows in right?
We're going to have a tough time on defense in right. Between him and Kerry Carpenter, unless for some reason you put Badu in left, but even he's not great in the outfield. He made that one play, though, when we went and saw the game.
Yeah, he did. He did. Kept throwing balls all around us, but not to us.
Yeah, they did hit like 3 home runs.
No. He was like throwing balls into the outfield.
Oh, he did. He did do that. And we were like the only ones sitting there, and he somehow missed us still.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think about Matt Vierling before we move on?
I mean, I
like it. We filled our spot.
Yeah, but we got rid of Gregory Soto, and I don't have a problem with him or the pieces that we got necessarily, but because our weakest part of the team for the last couple of years honestly has been offense, obviously, and we're beefing up on offense. Like, throughout this whole offseason, that's what we've been getting is offense. Nope, not really many pitchers other than Lorenzen, Boyd. I don't even remember who else. But we keep trading, the bullpen guys that made us so good as a pitching staff. Like, Soto's gone, Fulmer's gone, Chafin's gone. I don't even remember who else. Someone else is gone. I don't know, but that was our strong suit, and I was okay with trading a couple of them because it would make sense. Trade a couple. We still got depth in that area, and we can just get better at the other spot. At this point now, I think we're just flip-flopping at which ones we're good and bad at.
So yeah, I see where you're coming from because I had that same reaction at first. And we can do this part first. We can talk about the bullpen. Yeah, it is kind of depleted, but if you're looking at the individual pieces that have departed this offseason, Soto is really the only one we're going to miss on a long-term scale, I think. First of all, Fulmer was gone either way at the end of this season. Chafin left on his own. We didn't trade either. We traded Fulmer, but he was gone either way. We can still get him if we want. We are in the same position we are now, except for we have one extra prospect. It's either we traded him and then we have the chance to sign him, or we don't trade him and we still have a chance to sign him. Same thing with Chafin. He was going to opt out either way. I think the only reason that he didn't opt out is because the only reason he wouldn't opt out is because as if we were better. I worded that poorly. Jimenez, yeah, we traded him high, but I'm not opposed to that.
There he is. That's the guy I forgot about.
Yeah, so yes, did we trade Jimenez? Yeah, but also this was the greatest year of his career, and would you rather us trade him now and look back and be like, well, this sucks, or try to trade him in 5 years when he has no value and be like, well, we should have traded him when his value was high. Same thing with Soto. Soto, yeah, is a fireballer from the left side. How long is he going to last in that role? Probably another 3 years or so, but we traded him at his max value and filled the holes now.
See, I'm okay. Like, I was totally fine with, getting rid of a couple of them or whatever, as long as we had some pieces still there in the bullpen. And I don't think getting rid of everyone is the move. I think getting rid of some people was a good move, because we were kind of stacked in that position. We had kind of had a logjam, I guess, in a sense. And our weakest part was offense, mostly. But I think at this point now, we're kind of relying, because a lot of our bullpen is going to be like younger guys for the most part, or guys that really aren't used to the Tigers and maybe that we haven't seen. So I think right now, at this part, I'm seeing that AJ Hinch wants to rely on the starters more now. Let them go longer.
So,
but
I would agree with that.
I would agree with that. No Skubal at the start of the year.
I would agree with that. But you have to think about this from two perspectives. One, just because we got rid of the big name guys doesn't mean our bullpen can't be good. And two, well, I guess that's the only one. So if you're thinking about it, Alex Lang is our closer to start the year, most likely. A little shaky there, but then if you're thinking about the rest of the bullpen, it's really not that hard to talk yourself into it. You have Lang, Cisneros in the back end. He's an older guy. He's not a young guy. He'll give a little bit of veteran support. You also have Jason Foley, who I liked last year. Will Vest is still back there doing it, and he's starting to grow on me because he's starting to. He's one of the only ones left, honestly. But Will Vest is starting to grow on me, so those are your four high leverage guys right there, and those four are not bad. Then if you think about the rest of the bullpen, you can mix and match. Tyler Alexander's going to be back there. Give me some Alex Faedo, some Joey Wentz, Mason Englert. We picked up off the Rule 5 draft. We have to have him in there somewhere. Plus Brendan White, one of the guys we saved from the Rule 5 draft this year. People think he's got a decent shot to break camp. Garrett Hill looked all right out of the bullpen last year. A lot better than he did as a starter. There's a lot of options. Wilmer Flores even. There's a lot more options than you think. And yeah, a lot of them are unproven, but there's so many of them that some of them are going to shake out.
Yeah, I would agree with that. But at the same time, a lot of those people that you named are long end guys, like at least the back end of it. Or a lot of them are long end guys. And I think at that point, if one of your starters goes down, you might be pitching that guy too much. Or what happens if you get them both injured at the same time, and then you're losing basically two starters?
Doesn't matter because we have so much. The thing about long relievers in quotation marks is they're only a long reliever till they're not. Michael Fulmer, you could have said was a long reliever until he was basically the closer.
I think he was a pure starter. He went deep into games at the start of his career.
Yeah, he was, and then he went down with TJ, and then they realized how nasty he could be out of the bullpen, and we're like,
yeah,
the setup spot is yours.
Okay.
Let's jump gears to Nick Maton. He's our left-handed hitting infielder. I think he's probably our starting third baseman to start the year. If he can play third, I don't know what his defense is like. It's hard to say because he's relatively unknown.
You think he's a starting third baseman?
I think he's the starting third baseman, or he's our starting second baseman, and you have Jonathan Scope play third. very unproven. He's had stints with the Phillies in the last 2 years. He's going to get a bigger look this year, obviously. Last year, in 52 games, it wasn't great. It wasn't bad, though. It was still a 708 OPS. This year, in 34 games, 85 plate appearances, he raked. He put together a 138 OPS. I think the spot is his until he loses it, kind of. There's a lot of guys that are vying for it. Ryan Kreidler, Andy Ibanez, Tyler Nevin, who we'll talk about later.
I personally think Kreidler, Andy Ibanez are going to get it, but, I mean,
well,
he could.
So,
or
he is more
Scope
proven.
Could be third base, I guess.
He's more proven than both Kreidler and Ibanez. And Ibanez, which we'll talk about later, currently is not on our 40-man roster.
40-man roster. Didn't we just pick him up?
We'll talk about that later. I think, but either way, we have our left-handed hitting infielder. We filled the other two spots that we needed. Now, it would be nice if we could go out and get either Fulmer or Chafin or both. But we filled.
I think we need one of them.
We filled all the spots that we need. Maybe we created a hole in the bullpen. Maybe not. Only time will tell, really. If the kids come up and they're just nice. Ooh, Angel de Jesus, another guy who's technically not on the 40-man, but I like him a lot. And there's a couple other pitchers that could make an impact. The last guy in this trade is Donnie Sands. Very unproven. Looks like he hits all right in the minor leagues. What does this move mean to you? Like, what, So what is it? We'll start here. We already talked about the infield. I think that it's going to be Maton at third. You think potentially it could be Ibanez and Kreidler with Maton being, what, a bench bat?
Yeah, but I did not know that Ibanez was not on the 40-man.
So
that just means that someone can pick him up off waivers, right? Or
no, we'll talk about that later. He's still in our system though. Well, I'll say that. I'll tease it. He did get designated for assignment. He cleared waivers. He is in AAA right now, and he is ours up until he's not.
That's great.
So he's still in the system. He could be the guy. But I personally think it'll be Nick Maton with Ryan Kreidler playing maybe a platoon with Maton, or maybe just like a utility role where he'll give Javi a break, he'll give Scope a break.
Actually, now that you're saying this, I actually see it so much more because he's probably our best utility guy, and if Andy Ibanez isn't the guy they're thinking, then he's the last option, or Scope, or the third.
That's personally what I would say is you have those 5 guys with Torque and Javi included, and then you have guys like Ibanez, Zach Short, Wenceel Perez, all looking from the outside in, trying to crack it. Because that's the other thing too, is nothing is set in stone until after spring training.
Even during the season, really, nothing's set in stone.
100%.
Injuries are always happening, People play bad, call down, call ups.
Let's assume that you have 2 catchers, which I would assume.
Yeah, definitely.
Who is I think we can both agree that if Jake Rogers is healthy to start this season, it'll be Haas Rogers. I don't think Donnie Sands, I don't think Dylan Dingler, I don't think Michael Papierski are going to crack that.
No, I 100% agree. It's definitely them two, and I definitely think it's only going to be a two-catcher roster.
So where would you put Donnie Sands in the equation? What does he do for you? I have an answer, and I think I'm thinking out of the box. I could be delusional here. He could just be kind of a throw-in, but I think I know where this is going.
How old is he?
Young.
That's what I thought.
He's a prospect.
That's what I thought. I don't... Papierski's going to be AAA. Probably. I would see... I don't see why not.
I think...
He'd probably be the first catcher called up if one of our catchers go down.
So, that's interesting because the way that I see it right now is that if there was a catcher that's going to go down, it's between Dingler and Papierski. So let's say Dingler's doing really well in AAA, and they're like, we'll give him a taste while Rogers is out or whatever happens, assuming that it's only a short-term injury, this puts a little pressure on Dingler to do better because now there's 3 options. There's a good chance they'll all be in AAA because you can do that in AAA. There's a good chance that it's pretty much best man up. If Dingler's tearing the cover off the ball, pull him up. If Dingler and Papierski aren't doing well, but Donnie Sands is hitting all right, well then Dylan Dingler, you just lost your spot. You're gonna have to work harder for it. I think it's really a motivation thing more than anything. It's like, all right, Dingler, if you really want to be up this year, you're gonna have to really prove it. Because the spot, it's really hard to just tell a player, especially a young player, the spot is yours, because that puts a lot of pressure on them. Whereas you would rather put a chip on their shoulder and make them work that much harder for it.
Yeah, but at the same time, do you think a player could see it? I don't want to say offensive, but it's probably the best word I can think of when basically, they think they're the guy for the job and the coach is thinking otherwise. Like, it could get personal between a coach and a player.
Yeah, it 100% would, but that's why...
and I think that's when bad chemistry comes in, when you have that, like, clash.
That's the nice part about this move is if Dingler thinks that he's the right guy for the job, he's got to make an argument. Like, he's got to at least say, these are, like, look at, I've hit 300 and have hit 10 more home runs than him. Why is it him and not me? That could, if Dingler is clearly the guy and they decide to pull up Donnie Sands anyways, then you kind of get that. But if it's purely based off performance, which it should be, then I don't think there's anything that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Shifting to the outfield, and if we're assuming that you have 2 catchers, you have 5 infielders, and then Miggy, whatever he is, so that's 6, 7, 8.
Classification.
Yeah, he's kind of doing his own thing. That leaves 4 spots in the outfield. 5 if you want to take away from the bullpen, but more than likely you're going to run 4 spots in the outfield. I believe. No. 5. Let's just assume 5 for the benefit of the doubt. Ryler Green's a lock. Austin Meadows is a lock. Matt Vierling is a lock. That's 3 spots.
So I think it comes down to Baду and Kerry Carpenter.
If there's only 1 spot available, yes. And personally, I think we would agree on this. It's Kerry.
Yeah. From what I've seen from Kerry last year, he was raking the ball.
Same sort of thing. It's like if whoever plays better, or they could just decide to run with one less pitcher and run both of them out there, which is fine.
Or just have those 4 outfielders and just switch Kerry and Miggy between DH.
Which is likely what they'll do because that gives 13 pitchers and 13 position players, which is about right, as opposed to having 12. Actually, I forgot. You can't do that. So there is a spot for both Kerry and Badu. Which I guess rounds out the team. It makes it easy.
What are you thinking about?
I don't know. I thought it was going to be a battle between those two, but now that I'm actually looking at the numbers, it's like, all right, we kind of just filled a hole and didn't make another hole with it, unless you want to count the bullpen. But even then, there's the guys that'll slide in. You know what I mean? It's not like there's just nobody there. We signed 3 of the top 50 international prospects in the international draft, or in international signing period. Figured I'd mention that. I don't know anything about them. I know that there was a catcher, an infielder, and an outfielder. We'll see what they got. Christian Santana is a highly touted prospect for us, and he was an international guy, so as well as Roberto Campos. They're both pretty highly touted, but they're highly touted until they suck. So we'll see. Let's go over some small moves because Scott Harris has been an absolute maniac recently. And I'll start with this. We signed some guy named Kervin Castro. Okay, depth piece for the bullpen in case everything's falling apart. He's had some time in the majors. Whatever. He claimed Marco Feliciano and DFA'd Bly Madras, who cleared waivers. So we got this catcher, and then we DFA'd Bly Madras, who we just picked up off waivers, but he's still in the system, that's fine. We signed Andrew Knapp, former Phillies catcher. We claimed Zach Logue off of the waivers, and DFA'd Angel De Jesus. Sucks because I thought we were going to lose him, but he cleared waivers. Hopefully he'll be in the pen this year. Everything seems good so far, right? Well, it seems pretty normal. You know, he picked up some guys, he dropped some worse guys. He DFA'd Marco Feliciano for no reason. Just DFA'd him after he just picked him up. DFA'd Andy Ibanez. Who was that for? What was that? All right, fine though. Traded cash to Tyler Nevin for the Orioles. Traded cash to the Orioles for Tyler Nevin. Okay, get another depth piece for the infielder. Put a little pressure on Ibanez, Maton, Kreidler, Wenceel Perez, anybody who's trying to win that last outfield spot. I don't hate it. Trades Bly Madras to the Astros for cash. He thought he was safe. He cleared waivers. He's like, this is my home. Go to Houston.
We just picked him up, too.
We just picked him up. Then the Soto trade happened. We signed Chase and Shreve, and then the 3 international prospects. Oh my God, there was so much that happened. Oh, I forgot. We also DFA'd Zach Logue. I did not put that on here. Oh, I did actually. I just skipped it. I don't know what's going on, because he's just like, all right, give him to me. No, I don't want him anymore. Take him back.
Oh.
Do we have any idea?
I don't have an idea. I actually don't know. Maybe he...
I think he's just a mad scientist, man. He's just trying stuff until it works.
He's just throwing stuff together.
Yeah, just throwing the spaghetti at the wall until it sticks, you know?
Yeah. He's like stowing everything in a test tube and just shaking it up. Seeing what happens.
Then dumping it out when it doesn't work.
Next thing you know, an explosion's gonna happen. And
yeah.
The chemicals...
101 wins.
Yeah. I don't know what to think of this, because either he really knows something that we don't, or he's just looking like a fool. I don't know. Why does he keep doing it though? That's my question. Like once or twice, all right. But
at first I thought
consistent.
Because when we started the year, he was doing like he would pick up a guy and then he'd be like, I like this guy better. So he would DFA the first guy and then pick up the next guy. Now he's just doing it randomly. He's just picking him up and then DFAing him as soon as he can for... Why? Especially the Bly Madras one doesn't make any sense, because it's like, yeah, we want him. All right, we'll trade him to Houston. That's cool. Especially because I think we...
Did we get more cash than what we paid for him?
I don't know. It just says cash. There's so many question marks. All I can hope
value on that.
All I can hope is that it worked. That's the only thing I can hope for, is that it works.
I mean, how are we gonna know if it works? I mean, most of these guys are like
fringe guys, yeah, for sure.
Lower.
But like
guys.
if Tyler Nevin comes up and makes an impact off the bench as like Torkelson's not doing it, he needs to go down. They're like, all right, give Tyler Nevin a shot, and he does well. Okay.
Yeah, but that was like, an actual trade, like one guy for one guy, not picking him up, DFAing him. Like, that's traditional to do that. But I think with these guys, it's completely different.
I don't know what was going on with Zach Logue.
Like, hopefully,
because I like Zach Logue, and I think he might do it to Chase and Shreve too, which wouldn't make any sense because he's like a legit guy. Like, he was a serious pitcher, and now he's just kind of old, I think. He was a part of that like good Yankees bullpen. Let's see, how old is he? He's 32. I mean, he's got a career 3.87 ERA. There goes my computer. Doesn't matter. Because we got one more thing to talk about anyways. It's the ballpark. Yeah, he did it. The mad scientist did it. He finally brought the fence in.
He put it together, shook it up in a new ballpark.
Yeah.
Oh.
I think they're moving it in like 10 feet, which should mean a lot more home runs. It'll mean that Riley Green's 422-foot flyout will probably be a home run unless some dude's got mad hops.
Yeah, I think they moved the center field in 10. They moved in right field a little bit and dropped it down from 8 feet to 7 feet.
Yeah,
And then
that sounds about
same
right.
thing with the left field, 8 feet to 7 feet.
Which means more home runs, but also more robbed home runs, which is gonna be it's gonna be fun. You know what I mean? Instead of just bouncing off the wall, watching Riley Green jump up and rob it, that's gonna be sweet.
Yeah, but I don't know. Hopefully our pitchers don't give up too many home runs now, because I think that was kind of.
Yeah, we'll see how Scooble. We'll see how Scooble does with that.
Yeah, I'm scared actually. I mean, he really did better though, especially at the start of the season last year. He was really good. I think through his first couple starts, like 5 or 6 starts or something. I don't even remember how many starts. He actually did not give up a home run. And then something happened and he started giving them up again.
I remember listening to that game on the radio. I was like, man, Scooble's got a great run going. And then it was against the White Sox. And he just got shelled. And I just turned the radio off in the first inning.
But, I don't know. Hopefully, our offense has been the biggest problem. Hopefully our pitching can basically stay consistent.
Hopefully they can adapt.
Our offense can hit more home runs, hopefully, because that's been the biggest part
Yeah.
of what we lack, at least.
Another thing, too, because I forgot about this, but we'll bring it up now, because why not? 2023, we got some rule changes. The pitch clock is in effect, so we'll see how our pitchers adapt with that. Only 2 pickoffs. If you pick off a third time, either you get him out or he just takes second.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so like you can pick off once.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, it's cool because like you still get your 2, and then after those 2, it's not like he just goes. Like it's not like he's just got to.
Is it like 2 in a row or 2 in at bat?
2 in at bat. So like so you get 2, and then if you use both, you can still pick off. But if you don't get him out, like that's how they're keeping you in check. Is like if you don't get him out, then the runner can just take second base.
I don't think too many people are going to test it. I mean, you could though, because batters could be like, all right, he's not going to throw it over because that's
exactly, and that's the other thing too. Is it's like that's
on more
that,
of a mind game, I think.
Exactly. It adds a lot more strategy, and it allows for like a batter. It will have more stolen bases, which is just a fun part of the game that is neglected now. Also, even if there is like 2 pickoffs, the guy's not just gonna take a massive lead and be like he won't do it, because he will do it.
Yeah, thinking about it now though, they're actually the amount of like stolen bases, it's dropped drastically because pitchers are throwing so much faster, catchers are throwing so much faster.
So this is gonna help.
Reaction times is faster.
That, and also with all of that, the analytics teams are getting better, and now they're realizing it isn't really worth it to try to steal second base when this percentage of the time they're going to be out anyways. So now, I want to say when they tested it in the minors, there was a spike in stolen base numbers. This will help. Oh, the other thing that'll help stolen base numbers, they made the bases bigger, and they also like flattened them a little bit. So, yeah, more stolen bases that way too.
It'll be fun. You didn't mention this because...
No, I was waiting on this.
Not necessarily in the major leagues. God, I can't talk.
Oh, robo-umps? Is that what you're talking about?
What?
Robo-umps?
Yeah. But in the minor leagues this year, they're testing,
Well, there's one more
robot-umps.
big change that I think will actually help us for the better. And that is the shift has been limited. You can only have 2 infielders on each side of the bag now, so 2 and 2. And you can't do a flip-flop. So you can't have... What you can't do is you can't have Javi and Scope on the left side against a right-handed batter, and then just flip them and have Javi shift from shortstop to second and Scope go from third to first, just so that like you have your best defenders on that side. If you're a second baseman, you're on that side.
Honestly, I'm okay with not having that shift, but I think it should be fine, to move the defenders around.
No, that's even more broken.
I don't necessarily think so.
If you're just playing, like that's more broken than the shift actually.
I don't really think so. It's not like you have more guys on one side. You just want to have your best players in the best position possible to win the game. I think that's okay.
Whereas now, that's what you'll have is you'll have 2 defenders, you'll have 2 you'll have Javi and Scope, and then you'll have just like you could throw Miggy at first because it doesn't, or second base, I guess, which he would shift over to like third. It doesn't matter now. You know, I think it's genius because
I think they should let them like swap positions if they really had to. Because it makes it more complicated for the fielders anyways. Now they got to learn more positions and learn different techniques and everything.
I think this is great for us because now Scope gets to show off. Whereas, yeah, he was good, but he was also in the shift a lot last year. Now it's like wide open space, show off your defense, win the Gold Glove again.
Well, he didn't, but
win the Gold Glove this year. It's like,
he won't, just because he's not, top tier name.
We'll see, man. If he goes out there and he's just
I think he can be in conversation, but I don't think he has any chance to win it.
It depends. If he goes out there and he's just clearly the best, they'll give it to him. But it was so close between him and Andres Jimenez, they had to give it to Jimenez. Whereas this year, if he goes out and because of this new rule, he's just sick at second base, just the best, he'll get it.
I'd probably say the things I'm most excited about for the rule change is probably the bases, more stolen bases, like the bases being lowered, not picking off as much. I think that's cool. I think that is like actually unique to the game. I don't really I'm okay with not allowing shifts, but I just don't see the point to not allow them to flip flop because I just don't see the point. I think you should be allowed to. It's strategy at the end of the day. I think it's all strategy.
Yeah.
But I think my second favorite.
So is the shift though.
Not necessarily rule change, but
it will create more action.
I think I like the RoboCop more. And
RoboCop?
Yeah, because RoboCop, Robo.
That'd be kind of sick, RoboCop.
No, the robot because it would make.
If RoboCop
lose like a job, I guess, but I think they'd be more consistent instead of arguments, ejections. You get to keep your best players out there for the most part, and you can't argue a robot really. Like
before I give a serious response, would the RoboCop play for the Mets or the Yankees? You think he's a Queens guy or you think he's going to the Bronx? I think
Honestly,
Queens. I think Queens.
I think I see him in the Mets, bro.
I see him in the Mets as well. For some reason, I don't know. That's weird. Either way, so that's the thing about robo-umps is that you can see my pajamas. That's the thing about robo-umps is it wouldn't be every single pitch. What they would do is there would be like 3 challenges per team, and it would only be up to the player. So if you're a player in the batter's box and there's like a pitch way off the plate and you're the guy that's like doing that even though it's clearly a ball, then your teammates are going to hate you because when they actually need it, they might not have it. So that's the thing. It won't be every single pitch. There will still be that defensive part of framing for catchers. That's still going to be a part of the game. But if there's just a really bad call that's way off the plate and the ump calls it a strike for whatever reason, which happens a lot, then you can be like, all right, let's take a look at this one. You know what I mean? Instead of calling it for every little minute thing and looking like, well, did it clip a little bit? Yeah, it might have. I don't know. Stuff like that. It's more for like the big misses and big moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. But I think, I don't know how far in the future, but I think eventually it will turn into all robots. I personally think so.
I don't think so. It might, but it could.
That's where I see the game changing because I think everything in the world, not even just sports, everything's getting more technology and making it probably better.
They took our jobs.
Yeah, but most of them are like 80-year-old men that need to retire anyways.
Dude, what about the dude? He just got into the majors. He just got promoted to the majors as an umpire. He's got 2 letters for his first name. It's like JB or something like that.
It's probably not his first name. It's probably just abbreviated.
Yeah, probably. But you get, you know what I mean. He had a game last year where he only missed 1 call the entire game, according to the thing, and then in the playoffs,
I think
the same guy missed 0.
Yeah. Or no one, nothing. Yeah.
So that's the other thing is like the umps are getting better. Statistically, they are getting better. There's a Foolish Bailey video about it.
Because you don't have Joe West.
Hey, Joe West is a national treasure. We can get Angel, what's his name, out of there. He sucks. Angel Hernandez. Joe West did retire, but that was on his terms. I think he's like singing country music or something now.
Is he actually? Really?
I'm pretty sure.
He's old.
He's awesome. You ever see that video where he just gets domed in the chest by a foul ball and then he like flexes it off?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I never really had a problem with Joe West.
No, Joe West is awesome.
But I'm just picking on him.
That's fair.
Because he's the easiest one to pick on.
All right, we got anything else for this episode?
No, I don't think so. I don't know.
If somehow you decided to watch this video after we took a month break and you made it this far, thank you. We'll see. We'll see when the next time a video comes out. It'll come out when we have time and when stuff happens. So we'll see. See you guys.
See ya.